Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. I'm Saagar Enjeti.
I'm Deshandra Jefferson, in for Krista Ball today.
We are so happy to have you here. We have the Hill's editor-in-chief, Bob Cusack. We're going to be talking about FDD, the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, and what's going on with Iran. We're going to preview Joe Biden's strategy to win the White House. And is the DNC rigging the system against the candidates? All that coming up today on Rising. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. So, Saagar, what's on your radar this morning?
Well, the former Vice President Joe Biden was recently at a campaign event in New Hampshire where he told a moving story about flying to a dangerous province in Afghanistan to pin a medal on the chest of a heartbroken service member. Biden painted a vivid picture of risking the odds to get to the service member who broke down in sadness over winning a medal for a mission in which his friend died. The crowd was spellbound. Biden punctuated a dramatic part of the story with these words: "This is the God's honest truth." He added, "My word as a Biden." The problem, however, is the Washington Post notes in its story is that almost every detail in the story appears to be false, and that based on their reporting, the former vice president has jumbled events of at least 3 actual events into one story of bravery, compassion, and regret that never happened. The paper continues. In the space of 3 minutes, Biden got the time period, the location, the heroic act, the type of medal, the military branch, and the rank of the recipient wrong, as well as his own role in the ceremony. The former vice president tried to clean up his remarks in a follow-on interview with the Washington Post, saying, "I was making the point how courageous these incredible people are, how incredible they are, this generation of warriors, these fallen angels we've lost. I don't know what the problem is. What is it that I said was wrong?" What made things even better is that Biden staffer Simone Sanders attempted to clean up the boss's mess by noting that a service member in the story did get upset when presented with a medal, therefore the story was true. Except, as the Washington Post notes, literally the time, place, date, and event didn't happen. That is the definition of gaslighting, folks. Now, it would be very easy to brush this off as the case of an old man with a lot of stories from his nearly 4 decades in politics if he was waxing about the past, getting mixed up on a panel with former government officials. The problem is that this happened at a campaign event in which he wants to become the president of the United States for the next 4 and possibly 8 years. How many times are we supposed to overlook these things? From forgetting who the British Prime Minister is, to thinking that he's in Vermont when he's in New Hampshire, to thinking that MLK and Bobby Kennedy were actually killed in the late 1970s. The former vice president over and over again cast doubt on his basic abilities to project confidence in the words that he speaks to the nation. And Deshandra, I mean, I really question how so many of his supporters and how the vice president himself sees himself in this role. I mean, he seems to brush off on so many of these things. He'll be like, "Man, I'm not losing my mind," he guarantees us. His own wife tells us, "Oh, just pull the lever for my husband because you may not like anything that he stands for, but he has the best shot of beating Trump," which is, how do you grapple with this when you're in the midst of the campaign? I mean, what do you think his staffers are telling him?
I don't know. I would hate to be on the Biden campaign right now because there's a lot to clean up, but I don't know if he's auditioning for president of the United States or reality president of the United States because, listen, let's be honest with you. I am no Biden fan, but Trump has really lowered the standards for us.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's interesting, though, and this is what I've been thinking about, is that so Trump just took shameless political obfuscating to a height of a new level. Whereas the truth is that this type of, "oh, well, what I actually meant was X," has been going on for so long in our politics. And that if, in a way, going and see Biden do this just shows us that the playing field has always been corrupt, that it's always been bad, that in a strange way, we're just condemned to this type of politics, and I don't really know why.
I don't know. I think a few years ago, this kind of thing would have been more frowned upon. But listen, we're in the age of you can say anything. You could try to buy Greenland. You're the chosen one from God. I don't know. I think right now, voters are going to unfortunately overlook this. They're just going to brush it off because your president has set such a bad example and really has set the bar so low that anyone can get over it.
The main difference, I would say, is that when Trump does these things, it's usually in a manner to try and troll whoever he's with, or he does things in such a shameless and like, frankly, just funny way that the supporters eat it up. I don't know any Biden supporters who are out there who are looking at these types of stories and are like, yeah, this is what really fires me up. It's not. The difference with Trump is that most of the time whenever he's doing these things, it speaks to some higher desire of a base in order to get back at the Washington
You
political
are
elite.
giving him way too much credit.
Maybe. I mean,
you're giving him way too much credit. I really think he is a troll. I don't think he can help himself. I think he just says what comes out of his mouth.
Yeah.
Biden has a little bit of the same. God, it's going to hurt me to even defend him. It's just like I'm getting heartburn already. Call 911.
Yeah.
You know, Trump has just, again, set the bar so low. Biden, my cat can get over the bar right now. And that's where we're at, people. I think the Democrats, we have been so beat down, we are so thoroughly depressed that we will take almost anything. And if Biden is the front runner, people are going to be like, well, he's still better than Trump. That, to me, is not the definition of what makes a good president. To me, we should have higher standards. We have such a wide open field. Why Biden is still the front runner, I haven't figured that one out yet.
Yeah, I haven't either. Well, we have some more interesting things to talk about. Next on Rising, as Hurricane Dorian approaches the Florida coast, the storm is expected to intensify. Politicos are front and center talking about the weather event. We'll examine the politics of a hurricane. What are the given takeaways from the Inspector General's report on Comey? We'll also discuss that.
The lineup for the third 2020 Democratic debate is set. We'll talk about optics as we wonder where have all the moderates gone. The Hill's editor-in-chief, Bob Cusack, is next on Rising.